It is the Lord who passes judgment on me. Therefore, stop making judgments before the time when the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will manifest the intentions of men's hearts. My dear friends, we are privileged in this assembly to be all on the same wavelength. It does help a lot, I think you will agree, to celebrate with people who are in the same mode, who oftentimes in this situation make sacrifices of distance and time. And the quality, therefore, is what it is. And that applies even more when it comes to what is about to happen in a week's time. The Lord is good to us, and we are able to celebrate at midnight on Christmas night here in church at bang on midnight, Holy Mass in the Old Rite, and also because it is a Sunday at 1 o'clock for anyone who wishes to use that opportunity. But what I know in my heart is that those Christmases with you are very special. Unfortunately, I think you will agree that it is not always the case, and that Christmas is oftentimes an occasion for the Lord to find himself once again in that situation that he found himself in more than 2 millennia ago. There was no room in the inn. What has he to do with Christmas anyway? But when that creeps into church, we're in serious trouble. It's as though, really, Christmas is about Santa. I want to zoom into a different realm, my friends, just to collocate things in the correct optic. Judgment. The meaning of preparing to meet the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. For Advent essentially is that, on 2 levels, time and eternity. You may know that on the night of Christmas, on Christmas Day, for those 24 hours, a very large number of souls are delivered. It's the maximum along with All Souls' Day itself. Well, this week I was reflecting quietly before the Lord on some of the intuitions that over the years, during especially the night hours, the night office actually, which at Sant'Antimo we kept at midnight on Sundays and feast days, and which in any case was very early in the morning before dawn. And it was always a time to be outside time. Quietly, as the psalms went on and the chant floated up and down, ancient chant which the walls and stones echoed, having been built for that in the Middle Ages, time stood still. Moreover, there was no way that any signal could come into those thick walls. We were alone without modern gadgets. And one thing I would often think about is this. During this midnight office, while we sing away, how many eyes will be opened? Over the planet that we represent before the throne, how many souls will float into the beyond, and how many will be prepared? And I quote here, with regard to that realm, the fact that a lot is going on at Christmas night. The soul in purgatory has this to say: on Christmas night, thousands of souls left the place of expiation for heaven, but a lot stayed behind, and I'm one of them. Now this is a nun, remember, in purgatory. She goes on, you sometimes tell me perfecting of a soul is a really long process. Now, she's trying to make up on earth for a long, long time for what is lacking in the other's preparation, who died suddenly. You were right, she says from the beyond. You're also amazed that despite so many prayers, I remain for such a long time without the enjoyment of the vision of God. Now, at this point, the soul is already free from pain in the senses, but the pain at this stage, the last stage, is interior. The soul is made for God, and when there's no more distraction, it sees and feels things as they are. The perfecting of a soul in purgatory doesn't go any faster than on earth. There are some, a precious few, who have no more than a few venial sins to expiate. Those souls don't stay long in purgatory. We can help them, a few prayers well said, a few sacrifices, and they're free in no time. But when they're souls like me, and she goes on, it's nearly everyone else's case, when they've lived a life whose value is roughly nil. Now, wait on that when I'll come back to it. Whose life is roughly nil. Being little or hardly at all bothered about their salvation. Observe humanity, bothered. In these cases, life has to start all over again in the place of expiation. The soul has to begin its work of perfection, of loving and desiring the one it didn't love enough on earth. That's why soul's delivery sometimes demands such a long wait. Now, observe what's going on the planet right now. A tiny proportion, at least in civilized society as we know it, really bothers about taking care of the soul. When we think of the care that goes into one's looks, one's weight, even one's hair, compared with the care given to the soul, what are we at? Now, at the moment of death, suddenly one realizes what matters and what doesn't matter. Alas, says the soul, at death, when one is no longer blindfolded, what regrets people prepare for themselves. Alas! If people but spared a thought sometimes about eternity. What is life compared with this day, which will know no evening for the elect, with this evening, which will know no day for the damned, which leads me to where uncomfortably I landed in my thoughts. Just imagine a soul, even a successful soul in this world, who has been in the center of the limelight for whatever reason, good looks, good success, a good love life, fame, and then realizes, oh, what's this? And forever, and I haven't made it. Can you imagine what that is? The shock of waking up for the first time to reality. And there, where is the success? Where is the hot air of fame? Nil. And she goes on, and this could apply to us, our attachments. It's all stuff to be burnt out. We love everything on earth. We become attached to everything except the one who should alone have our affection and who is refused it. Now, even spouses must not make an idol of their spouse. Jesus alone is our God, and we must give him our heart, in which we give also the one and the ones that we love, and meet them in him, but in order. The Jesus of the tabernacle waits for souls who love him and finds none. There's hardly, notice this bit, 1 in 1,000 that loves him as he should be loved. You at least love him. Make up for this really culpable indifference that exists in the world. This then is the material that at night, in the night office, and in adoration in the quiet moments often comes to mind. It appears that Our Lady allowed children at one point to see hell and, as it were, a whole snow above it. What is that? And it was a whole mist of souls falling all the time into the pit, like snowflakes falling to the ground. Now, that means that all the time, there's a large number going into the beyond and waking up to that shock and not making it. Next time you have a chance to see the picture of the Sistine Chapel, look in that figure of the soul that has on its face that moment of waking up and has just realized, I just haven't made it. It's pure and utter despair. But all around you have glory, and down, of course, the other side. We may smile at these people who went before us a few centuries ago, as though they had some issue with judgment and the beyond, as though they were depressed before the game and joy of life. But let me tell you, my friends, when life was shorter and death was nearer, the chances are that they were far closer to the mark. One can err with excessive fear of God, perhaps, but it's safer to be there than on the other side, where the whole of civilized humanity is standing happy, making fun of all that went before them, and any present-day Christians who might be over the top. It's not cool to be religious nowadays. We have grown up, and the proof is that Christ is not needed at Christmas. We have a good time without him. I finish, my friends. This is a week, therefore, of keeping company to the one who, right now, once again, will probably find very little room in the inn. It's a time, either in the secret of one's room, with the sacred scriptures in hand, or in a quiet chapel where the Blessed Sacrament waits with the angels surrounding it, to love the one who is forgotten and left out in the cold. What has Christ anything to do with Christmas?